All right, everybody. Welcome to the Tatiana Show. It is, what is it? June 26th, 2018. I'm hanging here in my apartment and it is so exciting here. I guarantee you the fun never ends in the world of crypto, even if you are working from home. I'm happy to be back because I just got back from Pork Fest. So great to see you, Josh. I missed you, buddy.
Hey, man, I missed you guys. Seeing all those amazing shots from Pork Fest. I mean, Porcupine Festival, I think, is one of the best freedom festivals out there, and I've bloody never made it. It's annoying, but I've been there in spirit every time.
Yeah, it was super cool. I got some relaxation in. I have to send some more pictures, but Zen kind of sent me up there, and I was supposed to give a speech on Zen, and that I don't think that really would have gone very well, but I was gonna try it anyway. And it turns out that the speaking slot got, I don't know, something got screwed up. But we ended up having a Zen party, which I think is a little bit more kind of an informal, fun way to get to know people from the team. And, we had some volunteers there and we had some wine and cheese. So that was really fun. I'll have to put pictures up of that. And
follow Tatiana Morose. Which account do you usually use here? You've got so many. You got so many Twitter accounts. I can never keep up.
I know it's Queen Tatiana is my Twitter, but it'll go out on the Zencash official one too, and Crypto Media Hub. So anyway, we've got some fun things happening on the show today. We're going to bring up our next guest in just a minute, but we've got music, which doesn't always happen on this show. We've got a special appearance. We've got it. Well, no, that's not what I meant. No, yes, we've got an intro. I meant like that we've got CoinDaddy coming on. But first, we're going to talk to Chris Say. Wait. Okay, so it's spelled TSE, but it's really Chris C. I want to say Chris Say, but I don't know. Anyway, it's Chris C, and he's from CardStack, and he's really trying to bring the blockchain to the real world. My friends over at Waxman kind of told me about this project, and I thought it'd be a neat thing to learn a little bit about. So let's bring him on camera with us. We're going to unmute him and have him tell us a little bit about this CardStack project. Hey, Chris, nice to see you on the show today. Thank you for joining us.
Nice to be here.
Hey, awesome. Cool. So tell us, what is CardStack?
So we are trying to make the blockchain easier to use by creating the tools necessary to build what we call the experience layer of the decentralized internet. It's not just about one blockchain, 2 coins, 3 forks, and 16 tokens. It's about a unified experience for users to be able to access the richer way of innovations in the blockchain without getting confused with the prerequisite of getting everything ready. And to do that, we have to build better developer tools, create easier deployment model where you can meet the user where they are, and then allow those experience of touching blockchain and interact for the first time to turn it into a lifelong passion where you get deeper and deeper in a rabbit hole. But you have to meet people where they are now, and that's what we're focused on building the stack to build those experiences that would, attract people to our field.
So would people just kind of come to you and say, hey, we've got our chain built, but we're really looking for you to build out our user experience. We want to integrate with you because we just don't want to put any effort into that part of it? Or how does that work?
I don't think if you don't put effort, you're not going to get the results. But right now, the effort is Herculean to build a decentralized protocol or dApp and then build the UI in a decentralized way. It's you have 2 choices. One is that you can build it in a centralized way. Here's a centralized exchange, is a okay UI and getting better every day, and you can ship in 3 to 6 months. If you want to do it in a truly decentralized way and use all the decentralized authentication stuff like that, you're looking at a development timeline of at least 2 years, and that choice is actually a really terrible bargain, right? You either do it the right way, in the way that's aligned with the vision and never ship or ship very late, or you can just build a centralized service and get lots of users and really not get closer to the vision. So our idea is let's build toolkits so that people can deploy in a more centralized way and progressively decentralize towards it, because the same stack you built for day one to get users in, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, is the same stack that you would deploy in a more decentralized way. And that's what we enable with the multi-layer full stack approach we're putting together for developers.
Hey, so what happens, the big thing from the SEC was, hey, Ethereum's not a security because it's decentralized. So if you start off centralized, do you see that as a problem?
Depends on what you mean by centralized, right? You can have you can have a million or 10 million or 100 million website. They're all running on a web server. So by the crypto sense, they're centralized. But there's so many of them, so there's decentralized. I think centralization is really about how many people are allowed to run the software. If there's only one person able to run it, that's pretty centralized. A good example is Facebook, right? They're the only person who has to access the data, have the code base, the full upload tool, the filters, the special effects. It's only them, and they control not only the tools that create the photo or the live stream video, but also all the content. I think WordPress, on the other hand, would be pretty decentralized, right? There's a company, Automatic, they do WordPress for VIPs, but there's also copies of WordPress running on 30% of the websites in the world. We're seeing that as the model for decentralization, right? It's decentralized because many people are running a copy of Cardstack and making that on-ramp, but there's so many on-ramp you can't say it's controlled by one party. So it really depends on how you define it. And right now, that decentralization is all about the protocol, but I think it's really about the deployment model, how many touch point is centralized or decentralized. That's much more, I think, important and pertinent, and really nobody's really working on that except us.
So how long have you been working on this project for? And can you tell us a little bit about your background and the team?
Yes, absolutely. I've been working on Cardstack for about 3 to 4 years. And initially, it didn't have any blockchain on it. I just saw the lock-in for Facebook and Google and basically say, wouldn't it be great for us to build a new experience layer that taps into the API for each one of those things, and you can now own the data and pull it out. That turns out to be really hard to do in a centralized world where every API is basically controlled by Twitter. And then once you get some success building an alternate Twitter client, you get shut down the next day. In crypto, and then I really this project came to being when I met the founders of Ethereum, like Vitalik and Joseph Lubin and Stephen Twile and everybody else. I met them in New York, and I say, that is the turning point. If the API level is in this token network, people, they want you to build many different wallets and experience on it versus Facebook, who doesn't want you to build anything that's not distributed through them. So it really gave this project a kind of a new life to say, can we build this open source, shared experience layer, and with the API provider like that and not like or hate it. And I think in crypto, people really like it. Now, they will build their own dApps, and here's a plugin, or here's an Electron app or desktop app. But if there are a mass market coming in on board, leveraging the token, leveraging the protocol, they will love it. And we're just trying to say, maybe the users are not looking to install 15 different apps. Maybe we can provide that unified experience and still be able to have all the token ecosystem and the protocol welcome that wave of new users. And that's kind of what we're building. And, in my entire life, I've been in different type of settings and startups, got my stuff acquired by a big company, did innovation within a big company, started new teams at Business Week, and started R&D labs at McGraw-Hill, which is a big media company in New York City here. So I've seen the enterprise technology intersect with open source technology different ways. But the one thing that's clear to me is that, big companies back in the days where media empires splitting up the airwaves are not able to really get together and build really true platforms. And it's until Facebook and Google came along and say, hey, we're going to build this new, not evil empire a platform in the Silicon Valley. And then that get bigger and bigger. It seems like it's worse than the media oligopoly. It's even more centralized than the New York stuff. So I think crypto is an experience that when I have in my head, maybe this is the way we can organize even a healthier tech ecosystem than the Silicon Valley superpowers, but it's more competitive and probably led to greater innovation. And that's why I got here.
So, I think I totally agree with you. This whole space really needs a UX, UI makeover. There's so many just really bad user interfaces and user experiences. Newbies should get, and I guess Steve Jobs really is the go-to guy when it comes to this. He took something so complex as the computer and made it to the point where you don't need an instruction manual. You just open it up and you kind of know how to use it. Yeah. And give or take, whether you hate or love Apple, you've got to give him that Apple really did a good job with that. Is that kind of what you're doing? You're putting a good user interface or a good, I still don't quite get it. So people come in, they've got a great project. Do you guys help develop that project out on the back end, or they go off and develop the back end nerdy stuff and you guys come in and do the user experience?
The latter is closer to our engagement model right now, which is that, we're developing this stack, which hopefully becomes kind of the unfair advantage that anybody adopts. Is like, hey, I can, much like using WordPress and so on, I can ship in three weeks instead of 6 months if you were to build it from scratch. So we want to give people the acceleration. But right now, we're still figuring out what are the toolkits necessary to build the thing. It's important to remember the iPhone is just not just a beautiful experience. It's a combination of a phone, a web browser, and a personal assistant with an app, right? So it's like 3 things in one. And I think in crypto, that's what we lack, right? Like we have wallets, which are getting better, incrementally. But wallet is not how I think about my lives. I don't see my pictures in my wallet, and I don't send pictures to people as if I'm sending cryptocurrency. So the mental model is a little bit broken because, what we want is applications that uses, currency, if that makes sense, and taps into smart contract to do insurance, if that makes sense, or form networks and allow me to belong to group using token curated contracts. So these are all things that people are working on, but the end user experience is not each one of those things. We're not really aware that all the things are going on. You just want to say, these are my network, these are the tools we use within my network, and we can do both transaction of content and value kind of in exchange. And then it should disappear the same way when you're using iPhone, you're not thinking about 4G radios and web browsing runtime and WebKit. You're just seeing that experience. And that abstraction is really lacking because crypto is still very low level. Here's the address, here's the token, here's the hardware wallets, here's the encryption key. We need to speak a different language, and that's what we're trying to do, create abstraction so that the user is just about flow, value, and these kind of units of value we call cards, like wrapping different ideas and different contracts so you don't see the contracts anymore.
Tatiana, do you want abstraction? Do you like abstraction?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it depends. Some of that stuff I think it's good for people to get familiar with because, proceed into crypto at your own peril without knowing some of those important basics. But
yes.
Yeah. So how far are people using it right now? Like which chains are you guys working with, or is it not at that point yet?
Well, we have a plugin for Ethereum smart contract, which is kind of the second thing we did, which is, when you have a smart contract, you basically have some sort of data model. And once you point what we call a hub, which is our runtime against it, every single change, every single transaction history, it gets sucked into the Cosstack hub. And that hub provides a very simple and easy to use API for developer to code against as if it was just a simple database. In fact, we actually take all the Ethereum data and put it in a database, allows you to query and sort it, stuff like that. So that's really makes it much easier to interact with smart contract and look at history and stuff like that, which are pretty hard to do on Ethereum. But we've also done one for private blockchain like Hyperledger, Sawtooth, so that you can, use that as for things that doesn't make sense to be public blockchain. So we've been working on a media rights registry using Hyperledger, Sawtooth, and similar programming model, but very different kind of trust or permission, not permission. And to the user, that shouldn't matter. It should just be different data sources that has very secure data that's very trustless going into Ethereum, and more like organization or group data going into a more permission ledger. So that's kind of what we already deploy. We've got 31 plugin already on Cosstack.com, not Cosstack, GitHub, github.com/Cosstack/Cosstack. And we're adding new blockchains and new capability, new authentication every day. And that just becomes a library that a developer come in Cosstack and say, I want to program against something that's more like a regular API, but then I want to be able to build beautiful user experience. Then you can just say, hey, interact with this hub as if they were just like a centralized database. But what's underneath it is that any change you made to that hub is actually being sent to as Ethereum transactions or as a permission ledger transaction. It's all about abstraction, hiding the detail, not requiring you to understand how an internal combustion engine works. Just auto start-stop, steering wheel and the air conditioning, get people on the merry way on the open skies and open road.
Going down the blockchain. I don't know. People shouldn't be driving on the block. So are you guys doing any kind of conferences? Have you been talking about this? What's the reaction? How are people getting involved right now?
So I've been on a tour of the Asian circuits and the European conference in March, April, and I'm going on the road again next week for a bunch of conferences in Hong Kong and Korea and Singapore. The reaction is mostly from project founders coming up to me and say, you know what you have is really valuable to us. We're trying to solve our token ecosystem, token economics, and how we incentivize people, but on top of that, I have to solve all these challenges, how to deploy it, how to get users, and they really want some help. And so it's been really good to be able to talk to them and say, hey, you're trying to build, electric grid type of stuff. Like, what challenges are you getting users on board, and what do you believe the gap is? And we're just taking notes and try to see what the common problems are and put it into our framework, and working with a very small selected group of projects that will go and demonstrate to the world, and then say, hey, do you want to do what they did? Here's an open source framework that you can start with, and give the latecomers, maybe the second wave of people, an unfair advantage over people who don't.
Well,
have this
there you go, folks. If you're a developer out there, if you've got a project that's ready to roll and it looks as nerdy as hell, no one knows how to use it, how do people get in touch with you?
I think you come to carstack.com, sign up for a mailing list, join our Telegram community.
How do you spell that, Carstack?
It's a stack of cards, so CARD and then STACK. We are all the card stacks, right? We are Telegram/cardstacks, the main community. We are github.com/cardstacks, the main repository, and obviously cardstack.com and @cardstack on Twitter.
Man, you've stacked all those cards.
Yes.
All the
not a small amount of work, but we're there, and you can find us and trust that if it's Cardstack, it's probably us.
Great.
Awesome. Well, cool. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today. We will hopefully see you around the city. I know I'm in town for a little while, so you never know when we'll cross paths. Awesome. Thanks very much for coming on the show. Josh, we have like a couple little announcements before we bring on our next guest. I wanted to say a quick thanks to some of our sponsors. We have a special sponsor, but I wanted to say hi to our regular sponsors. They're also special. Man, I'm really butchering this lately. Okay, so they're just not as special as the last one because they're a new sponsor. So anyway, the Bitcoin CPA, Kirk is a good friend of mine. He's also been keeping me and all of my podcasting paperwork and tax preparation all nice and neat, even though we do work with crypto, and that's not always so simple. So the bitcoincpa.com, and then we've got our friends at Crypto Compare. I know that Vaultoro's on there too. So what's the story there?
Yeah, well, if anyone wants to compare their crypto to actual physical bullion gold instead of just filthy fiat, you can of course use Crypto to Compare. They use the Vaultoro.com API, and there you can keep track of how much actual value you've got there sitting in crypto. But not to say that crypto isn't actual value. It's just a good way to actually find a price discovery system based on something other than fiat.
Okay. Yes, that's sickening. I agree. Also, if y'all want to just check out what I'm working on, you can go to TatianaRose.com or to CryptoMediaHub.com. We're doing all sorts of fun stuff over there, but we have our special sponsor, Plutus. So let's take it away, Javi. He's going to give us a little roll. Plutus makes paying merchants in crypto easy. Looking for a practical day-to-day way to use cryptocurrency? Join Plutus in beta. Maybe, like me, you're still waiting for your favorite stores to start accepting cryptocurrency. Plutus allows you to shop from those favorite stores and websites and pay with crypto. Each time users pay with the Plutus app or debit card, they earn reward points or plutons. Kind of like frequent flyer deals or cashback points, plutons can be spent at any NFC-enabled store with the added bonus of instant payments and zero transaction fees. You can earn up to 3% in plutons for each time you use your Plutus debit card and pay with BTC or Ether. Plutus makes paying merchants in crypto easy. To find out more, go to plutus.it, plutus.it. I like those sexy slow jams that go on underneath that ad. I think they were cool.
Yeah, well, it makes me really want to collect plutons.
I thought that was pretty fun. It seems like a neat useful thing, crypto's just like coming in the mainstream. So those sexy jams, they made me think of my friend.
Oh yeah,
the real daddy, the CoinDaddy. We're bringing them on, ladies and gentlemen. CoinDaddy,
bring on the CoinDaddy.
What's going on? It's so nice to see you. You're coming to us live from your palace or your pimp hovel. I don't know what you call those places. What's going on, bud?
What's up, Tatiana? Long time no talk.
I know it has been, well, not that long. I think consensus. And Josh, I don't know if you ever met CoinDaddy before, but he's broadcasting to us live today.
Unfortunately, not. But I've been counting down this week. The man, the legend.
So before we start talking about stuff, I thought maybe we could share a song that me and you did
Sure.
called Charlie, and it's a play. Well, let's play a little piece of it, and then you can just tell us a little bit about it.
Playing with atomic swap, that shit is rad. Anyways, I hope you get this, man. Tweet me back or G-chat me. Respect you madly at Real CoinDaddy.
Just so them wondering why I fought like corn at all. The morning for drove down the price, so now I can't sell it all. And even if I could, I would still just hold with my limit on the wall to remind me that I've got these bags. I've got these bags.
Dear Charlie, you're treating me like crud. I ain't mad. I just think it's fucked up that you're spreading all this FUD. If you wanted to do the right thing about insider information, maybe verify it before blasting it out across the nation. That China shit hurt Bitcoin, man. It's only 10 years old. It grew all the way to 5K for you to just say hold. That's pretty shitty, man. You caused that fucking dump. And now you're defending yourself on Twitter like a crypto Donald Trump. I'm still holding, although I think I may no longer like you. Remember when we met in SF and you said that if I tweeted you, you would retweet me back? See, I'm just like you in a way. I need attention too. I don't even have a shitcoin, so I need it more than you. I can relate to what you laid out in your white paper. All that awesome stuff about so much more that's planned for later. I'm bag holding everything else. So Litecoin helps when I'm depressed. I even wear a t-shirt with LTC across the chest. Sometimes I dox myself to see how much it...
All right. I like it.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
I was grooving to my own song. What does that say about me? Who knows?
So, yeah, so we got to work on that together. But you've been doing all different kinds of music for the crypto scene for a long time. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved and a little bit about the man behind the daddy.
Yeah, sure. So it started in November. Totally on a lark. I had never really made music or anything before, but I've always been a little bit creative. So I just saw the momentum of where it was going, and I thought, you need to make a song about this. And I did it, and it started going viral with just the audio. And I said, you know what, I have to make a character. So I thought, like, what's the most corny name I could come up with? And I came up with CoinDaddy right away, and I thought it was just so genius. And I thought, this guy needs the costume. So I went to HalloweenCostumes.com, and I think I paid like maybe like $40 for this Halloween costume of like a pimp. And I had grand ideas, like gonna put a Bitcoin chain and, you know, have like Ethereum in the lining and all this stuff. And then I just decided, no, I'm just gonna wear the suit instead. So I did, and the New York Times took a photo of me. And after that, it was just history. I mean, it blew up. I was in Business Insider, Forbes, XXL Magazine, Business Insider 2 more times. Vice interviewed me. We were in talks to do a reality TV show. I think it was just like crypto mania had hit, and everybody wanted some sort of story. And then what's more interesting than this guy who's claiming he's like a Bitcoin rapper, pimp, Weird Al Yankovic style person? It was the most interesting part of that article.
Awesome. So, but this isn't like the whole time that you've known about crypto. You didn't only find out about Bitcoin in November.
No, I've been in Bitcoin since 2013. Yeah, so
okay.
I bought Bitcoin in the double digits, and then I rode, really the timing was perfect the first time around. I rode it up right away. I mean, as soon as I bought, it just was 100, 200, 300. And we rode that first bubble to about 1,100. And then the price just crashed down. And I held the whole time. I didn't sell. I actually haven't sold really anything, to be honest with you. So I held the whole time. And then, you know, obviously 2-3 years go by and nothing really happens. And we go back to normal life and work. And then 2017, last year, came around and it just blew up again. And it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. And here we are now. We were working the whole time, but really last year is when it just, I mean, hit critical mass.
Well, I still think we've got a long way to go up from here for sure. What are you working on right now? Yeah,
so I'm doing a song that we're gonna play a little snippet of with Mims, who's "This Is Why I'm Hot." This is why I'm hot. And actually, what we found is that a lot of people, a lot of like rappers from back in the 90s and the 2000s, they're all getting into crypto right now because I guess rappers tend to go where the money goes. And I decided, you know, let's have a vehicle to work with them. And they all want to get into tech projects, but I thought maybe let's get them in the music projects as well. So we're doing that. And then I'm working with CNBC as well. I'm doing the music for an upcoming documentary that they're doing. And we're in talks to do a show with them outside of the CoinDaddy character. And just little projects here and there that keep me busy and entertained.
Awesome.
And Bitcoin. only Bitcoin.
And only Bitcoin. I like the maximalism. I mean, not completely, because I do like a lot of other projects, but there's something a little bit nice about the purists at heart.
I mean, it is pure, right? I mean, if you really think about it, Bitcoin truly is the coin that needs a blockchain. And then every other blockchain company and blockchain solution or whatever is created for the corporate interest on top of it. I mean, otherwise Bitcoin is very boring. If you think about it, what do? You just buy it and hold it? No, we need a whole ecosystem around it. Everybody needs a piece of that pie. So hence we have altcoins and a Bitcoin market and consensus and 8,500 people in attendance and $30,000 tickets and, you know, for booths, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah. You know, the entire ecosystem's blown up to so many things that really don't need to be there. And you're right. Money is the killer app. And someone said the other day to me again, and it keeps coming up.
I said conferences is a killer app. I don't like that idea.
Conferences are the killer app for
money is
blockchain.
the killer app. I mean, that seems like it resonates more with me.
I think conferences is probably like a sub tier of a broader money. So I think money and conferences are like both the killer apps. I mean, we had a conference just now called, what was it, Tulip 2018? I mean, they put the name Tulip in the conference. I mean, for God's sakes, I mean, how can you just, you know, be any more crude? Who knows?
Yeah. No, but you know, the thing is that when people say this stuff, I say to them, look, how many times do you use an immutable database every day? Where do you need that stuff? But how many times a day do you use money? How many times do you pull your wallet out and actually use currency? Bitcoin and money is the killer app for blockchain. It really is.
Yeah, well, and I think what's been the most interesting thing from my perspective, and actually this comes through in the music that I do, it's that it's the philosophy behind what we're doing here, right? I mean, everybody brings their own perspective to like this crypto blockchain thing. Some people want cash. Some people want store of value. Some people want to build a tech company that, you know, implements a feature that they can get bought out later. And some people want to do acquisitions, like Consensus, the company, right? So like everybody has like their different thing that they bring. And what I like and what I put in the music is that it's almost like it's hilarious to me. They're like these little characters, like they're caricatures. Like I see like the way certain people act, and it's almost like I'm looking at a 3-year-old that like wants this certain thing, and it's very clear to me like what their objective is. And I'm like, I have to turn this into a character and I have to put it into a song. So the song we just listened to, the Charlie song, I mean, it was all about, it was a parody of Eminem's Stan, and I'm sure everybody's heard that, but it was about Charlie selling his coins at the top and then saying it's a conflict of interest. And then here you have this fan that was wrecked because Charlie decided that he wanted to do this. Now, whether it was because of Charlie, we don't know, but you know, it was very close to one another. So for the sake of the song, I just took that, you know, assumption, but this fan is destroyed and he's feeling crazy. He's getting mad. If you listen to the song, there's like a whole arc. So it gets progressively more intense as the song goes along. Yeah, right. And all these characters, I have Novogratz, I do for Tone Vase, Jimmy Song, Max Kaiser.
I thought you were talking about Charlie Shrem for a second there, right at the start.
No, Charlie Lee. Charlie Lee. Charlie
yeah.
Shrem hasn't received the CoinDaddy treatment just yet. Only Charlie Lee. And actually we have a song with Tone Vase coming out. Actually, I got Jimmy Song and Tone Vase and Leah Wald and Elizabeth Stark halfway to record their vocals for the actual song, if you can call it that, which is more like a play or a radio show that's coming out on Thursday. And we're going to be premiering it on his show live. And man, I got to tell you, the song's 17 minutes long. It is an epic song. I mean, it is just, it's better than any movie you'll ever see. I promise you. It is incredible.
That's really Weird Al Yankovic, man. Like he's done a couple of epic 17-minute tracks.
Yeah, he had one called like Trapped in the Drive-Thru or something like that, which is a parody of R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet, which is amazing. R. Kelly is Trapped in the Closet is one of the best. It's just absurd and hilarious and it's self-aware of what it is. So Tone Vase Part 3, it's coming out on Thursday. And if you guys want to, go listen to Tone Vase Part 2. Type it in on YouTube. It's called Tethered. And it's all about Tone Vase and the Bitfinex situation and the tethers. And it's really, really clever. And,
well,
and
yeah,
it's good.
I just saw Tone last week, so I'll make sure I bring that up with him. Has he heard it and is he digging it? Of course he likes it.
Tone hasn't heard part 3 yet. He heard part 2, Tethered, which he loved, and that's actually how we became friends. He, like, my art was so good that he wanted to be friends with me, which is awesome.
Awesome.
And then Tone Based part 3, I got everybody around his circle except for him. So like he's the only one who hasn't heard it yet because I stole voices from his best friends, Jimmy and Leah and Elizabeth and everybody, and I want to present it to him in one shot, and it is cool, man. It's really funny.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, listen, why don't we play a little selection from one of the new tracks? And before we do, because we're gonna transition out of the show after that, real quick before we get to that. One more time, can you give us some links where people can listen to you? You know, your website, Twitter?
Yeah, sure. So you can find me on youtube.com/CoinDaddy. You can just Google CoinDaddy. There's a company that pops up, but that's not me. I'm CoinDaddy, the artist. And then, of course, twitter.com/RealCoinDaddy. So @RealCoinDaddy. And I'm on all social really as @RealCoinDaddy. And then just type in CoinDaddy and YouTube and give Tethered a listen. And I think you'll have a really, really, really great time. The song Tatiana's about to play right now is a clip of the first verse of a song called This Is Why I Bought, which is a play of This Is Why I'm Hot by a rapper named Mims. And once you guys hear the beat, you'll instantly recognize where it's from. And we're going to listen to the chorus and the first verse.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody.
No
we'll tune in next week. Thanks so much for coming on. Bye, Chris. Bye, CoinDaddy. I don't want to call you by anything other than your respectful name. Sorry.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's give it a listen.
Let's listen.
Yeah. CoinDaddy, Team Hodl, Crypto Crew. This is what I bought. This is what I bought. This is why 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 I bought. I bought cause you sold cause you lost. This is why I bought. I bought cause you sold cause you lost. This is why I bought. This is why I bought. I don't gotta trade. I'm straight retire from my realized gains. This is what I bought. I don't need a bank. My shit's a store of value while your shitcoin's gonna tank. I love the itty bitties and my little Toshis. Bitcoin in the treasure, burning ether for the homies. Chillin' Puerto Rico, sippin' on mojitos. And when I need some crypto cash, been chillin' ICOs. If you don't know Daddy, ain't an OG. You weren't hanging with me back in 2013. Tone Based to the bait, calling Charlie Lee. Jihan Wu send me brand new ASICs so for free. 6 months in the day, the Puerto Rico way. Citizenship loose like the shit that Craig Ross say. Life is too good. The news is scooping up my shit. When they ask me how I do it, all I gotta say is this. This is what I bought. This is what I bought. This is why I bought. This is what
Awesome show, everybody. This has been real fun. Thanks so much again, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next week. We've got some extra shows coming up, some cool guests. And thanks. Go to thetatianashow.com and check out the website. It's new. And you could check out all the old episodes and give us a like on iTunes and all that stuff. See you soon. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Keep the memories and make love for more. No, you never know.